6. I'm Melanie Schickler. Yesterday was the sports equinox where football, basketball, baseball, and hockey were all in action on the same day. So of course, we got it all here on this edition of Schick Pick 6. Let's go. For pick number 6, we'll start out with hockey with the Boston Bruins and Edmonton Oilers, who are each dominating very early in the season. We'll start with Boston. They have the best line in the league. Don't even try to argue with me. David Pastrnak, Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron, this line produces like no other. I've never seen anything like it. Pastrnak leads the league in goals and overall points with 11 and 23 respectively. Brad Marchand leads the league in plus-minus rating with a plus 11, which just shows how often he's on the ice and how much he contributes for Bruins scoring plays. He's one of the few players in this league that's truly a team-first guy. He's always looking to set up his line mates before himself. On the back end, we got Tuukka Rask leading the league in 3 of the 4 goalie statistics. Goals against average with just under 1.5 per game, save percentage with just above 95%, and already 2 shutouts. The key to an unstoppable team is offense and defense, and the Bruins clearly have that both. You know what? I really wouldn't be surprised if I saw them in the Cup this year once again. Now let's jump countries, let's go a little bit up north to Canada, and talk about the team that's making headlines in the Western Conference. That's the Edmonton Oilers. I know it's very early in the season to make this type of prediction, but the Edmonton Oilers will go far in this year's Stanley Cup playoffs. Why? Because they have a great mix of veteran guys and young guns that have mixed perfectly together, which is why they're off to an 8-3 start. Captain Connor McDavid is being Connor McDavid. There's really not much else to say besides speed, speed, and more speed. You can't catch this guy. He's not just scoring, he sets up highlight reel goals night after night. McDavid and Draisaitl each have 21 points on the season, which is tied for 3rd in the league. Don't expect them to leave the leaderboard anytime soon because they are truly a dynamic duo that you don't often find in this league. Now don't get me wrong, Leon Draisaitl is a fantastic hockey player, but he would not rack up the points he does without Connor McDavid. Now for pick number 5, let's go over to some unfortunate news in football. The NFL season is halfway over, but for J.J. Watt, it's officially over for the year. J.J. Watt left the game yesterday against the Oakland Raiders in the second quarter with a pectoral injury, and he took to Twitter after the game to confirm that he's officially done for the season. Here's the injury.
And it's now 1st and 20. We'll hear from Gene Steratore in a moment as Jacobs is tripped up by J.J. Watt. Now we'll bring in Gene Steratore.
You're probably like, what injury? He wasn't visibly shaken up on the play, but he did leave the game later in the second quarter and headed straight for the locker room. The Texans did escape with a win, improving their record to 5-3 on the year, but the loss of J.J. Watt will definitely impact their playoff hopes. I mean, this guy has been an all-star defensive end for all of his career, and Deshaun Watson needs to rally his troops in that locker room and make sure that everybody steps up in the absence of J.J. Watt. College football for pick number 4. What better than to talk about a top 10 upset? Oklahoma lost yesterday to number 22 Kansas State, who definitely weren't supposed to win this one. Jalen Hurts did his job and went for a total of 395 yards, but it was the Kansas State rush game that led the way for the Cats in this one. Running back James Gilbert was the difference maker, carrying the ball 13 times for a total of 105 yards with a touchdown and an average of just over 8 yards per carry. Gilbert had more rushing yards alone than the entire Sooners team did the entire game combined. When I say that their rushing was the sole reason they won this game, it 100% was. The Wildcats did not throw a single touchdown. Gilbert had 1, and quarterback Skylar Thompson had the other 4, which were all rushing touchdowns. I'm sure they'll see themselves higher up in the AP poll. They shouldn't be 22nd after defeating the number 10 Oklahoma Sooners. Picks number 3 and 2 are the struggling Golden State Warriors and New Orleans Pelicans. It's really a toss-up here of which one has been the more surprising team, but let's start down in the Big Easy. The Pelicans had one of the most historic off-seasons, bringing in Zion, J.J. Redick, Lonzo Ball, among an already well-established team. But with Zion out with a knee injury 6 to 8 weeks, you have to wonder what his impact will be, considering this team has yet to find a win after 1 week of the 2019 season. They're 0-3 after losing to the Raptors, Mavericks, and Rockets. But the big takeaway here is that all of their losses have been 8 points or less. That shows the competitiveness of this team, but also points out that they need to jump out to an early lead and then play strong defense. Now let's talk Curry and company. We all knew the Warriors wouldn't be the team they've been the past 5 years in the finals. They lost Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson's out for the year, and yes, Steph Curry is one of the best, if not the best, point guards in the league, but he can't do everything. The Warriors have also yet to find themselves in the win column, falling to 0-2 on the season with a pretty gruesome point differential of a combined 47 points. That's a red flag for the defense and something they definitely need to tune up in practice. Oddly enough, these two teams are facing off right now in New Orleans, and fortunately for one of them, they'll be in the win column after tonight. For pick number 1, we have to complete our sports equinox, and that's with the World Series. What a series it's been. 5 days ago, many said, Houston, we have a problem. It really looked like this one was over after Houston dropped the first 2 games at home, but then they turned it right around, went into Washington, and crushed those 3 games, taking them all away from the Nats at home and going back to Houston with a 3-2 lead. Only game 1 of this series was a 1-run difference. The rest have been blowouts, mainly by the Astros. They've held the Nats to only 1 run in each of the past 3 games and have outscored them 19-3. During this 3-game span, they've hit 6 homers, and all of their players are either hitting ones over the wall or hitting in men on base. So if you're an Astros fan, you're loving this. If you're a Nationals fan, not so much. Do not miss Game 6 of this incredible World Series tomorrow night in Houston, 8 p.m. on Fox. And don't miss the full recap of the entire series next week on episode 23. That's all we got for today. Can't wait to see what's in store next week on Schick.